Hello, I'm Jevon and I'm a youth educator at Day One. As a youth educator, I go into middle schools, high schools, and colleges all over New York City and I facilitate workshops around consent, coercion, dating violence, sexual violence, tech abuse, a lot of different topics. In these workshops, I hear a variety of responses, and a lot of young people get really engaged and heated in these conversations. I do see that a young person is experiencing abuse or unhealthy behaviors in their relationships. I really educate young people on being mindful of those behaviors, because just because they're enacting certain unhealthy behaviors in the relationship doesn't mean that they're technically abusive. But I really tell them that if you acknowledge, oh, I'm doing these things that are unhealthy, I'm yelling at my partner, I'm controlling them, I'm showing signs of extreme jealousy, these are warning signs to abuse. And so sometimes I see young people who are like, oh wow, I didn't even realize I was doing unhealthy behaviors in my relationship. I didn't realize I was being controlling. I didn't realize I was being super jealous. So they acknowledge and they're like, oh, that's what jealousy is. That's what abuse is. And so I really tell them that as long as you're acknowledging those behaviors and changing those behaviors and improving that, that's great and that's putting you towards a healthy relationship. I think having young people have those skills on how they can improve their relationships, how they can have healthy communication is key in helping end dating violence among youth. And I always tell them that we have free services at Day One. We have free legal, counseling, and social services. So anytime they have questions or concerns about their relationship, or they feel like, is this abuse? Is this unhealthy? Is it healthy? That they can always come to Day One and ask questions, because it is very confusing. Last week, I had a young person, when I was doing a workshop around dating violence, he said, well, this is just normal. This is how young people are in their relationships. They play mind games, and there's a lot of unhealthy, toxic behaviors, and it's just how it is. And I really tried to push back and challenge him and rethinking about this may be how your generation or how people you go to school with act in their relationships, but it shouldn't be normal. Dating and love and sex and relationships shouldn't be a game.
Hi, my name is Natalie, and I'm the senior staff social worker with Day One. So my role is very one-on-one. I do a lot of direct service work with our clients, and some of that is very technical, like case management. So I help folks apply for housing or find shelter or find GED programs. I do advocacy with schools, and a big part of it is the individual counseling that I do with clients. So I thought it would be cool for me to share something that a client wrote to me after we worked together, because I feel like we don't hear too much about like the results or like the after of counseling, and I hope that they're okay with me sharing it. But the client wrote, "Thank you for bearing witness to me and to my story. I've had a lot of ups and downs in the last almost 2 years we've worked together, and you have been such an important part of my journey. Thank you for helping me grow into a stronger and braver person." So it meant a lot to me as the counselor to hear this from the client and know that like my work meant that much to this person.
Hi, my name is Joanna, and I'm the Youth Education Coordinator at Day One. As the Youth Education Coordinator, what I primarily do is go into middle schools, high schools, and colleges, and I do workshops on healthy relationships, teen dating violence, consent, gender roles, and a whole bunch of topics that go into us promoting healthier relationships in teens' lives. I get to be in the classroom a whole lot, and I get to hear from young people a whole lot about what they believe makes up a healthier relationship, what they think are signs of unhealthy relationships, and we actually get to explore a lot about the relationships that we see around us every day, whether it be celebrity relationships, relationships on television at the moment that are either really problematic or really great examples of relationships, why those relationships matter to us and why they stand out to us. The characteristic that I speak about the most for healthy relationships is definitely boundary setting and consent. I think I could probably have those words tattooed on my forehead by now. But those are my favorite topics to talk about just because I think they're the foundation of a lot of ways that we can communicate with partners, how we are able to check in with our partners, how we're able to respect our partners. A student actually came back the following week where we were discussing just the things that we've been learning so far. And the student shared that recently they were going to meet with someone who they liked at the moment, and they said that they were going to hang out with them. We all know that hang out can mean so many different things. So the student actually shared that the night before they hung out, they just asked, hey, do you have any boundaries that I should be aware of? And then the other person told them their boundaries. Then they asked them what are their own boundaries, and the student responded. So when they hung out the next day, they were already fully aware of each other's boundaries and expectations of where they felt safe enough to go. And even though that might seem a little awkward, when I asked the student, was that an awkward conversation for you? Was it hard? They said it was this much awkward versus this much awkward of entering the situation not knowing what could happen. So I love that moment because it was such an easy way to ask someone, what are you not okay with? What are you okay with? And start a conversation about consent in a way that's realistic and not robotic. And I think when we're talking about the work that we do at Day One, something that stands out about us is that we really try to be about the audience that we're serving and aligning ourselves with and participating with. And that shows in a lot of our projects.
So hi, my name is Kim Moore and I'm a rap coordinator here at Day One. Something happened this week in my role that kind of solidified how powerful rap can be for young people in so many different ways. We had an event here at Day One where young people came and helped conference plan. And the go-around question that we used was something along the lines of, what is something that you've learned in your life that kind of sticks out to you? And one of the young people who I see for counseling and have seen for counseling for a little over a year was here at that event and answered the question. And this young person said that the thing that they learned was how to take care of themselves and the value of self-care. And then the young person said that I taught her that and that she sees the ways that I take care of myself. And for me, that really stuck out for me. One of the things that intimate partner violence can do to people is make them feel powerless in the ways that they can take care of themselves. And to hear a young person reclaim power in that way, reclaim power over her self-care and her self-nourishment was really powerful for me. So, yeah.